Hello and welcome to our Executive Insight series for the Cloudera Government Forum. I'm Billy Mitchell, Editor-in-Chief of FedScoop, and it's my pleasure today to speak with Rob Carey, President of Cloudera Government Solutions. Rob, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's get right into our conversation with a question on data. And I'd like to ask you, how have agencies made progress in leveraging data as a core asset to succeed in their missions over the past year or so?
So, Billy, it's a good question, and sounds like it's rote, but it's not. There's been a tremendous amount of progress made in recognizing the strategic asset that's right under their nose. The challenge that has occurred that has now been overcome is it's in different places, right? It's on-prem, off-prem, it's in a cloud environment, it's in a legacy data center, it's in different cloud environments. And so today the tools exist to then manage that, right? That a few years ago, they did not exist. And so, whether you're trying to work on cyber, you're trying to work on some predictive analytics, maybe you're working on fraud detection, you can assemble a toolbox that allows you to then command and control the data to accelerate your mission. So how are they doing that? I mean, first of all, they need to do a little bit of soul searching. Where is my stuff? Where's my data? What data is relevant? And then manage that data lifecycle as you move yourself towards understanding and delivering the insightful revelations that are going to come about from understanding you have data in 3 or 4 different places or more, and now connect that data to the decision makers, right? Today, we often make decisions, not in a vacuum, but we're making decisions absent some insightful information that can be obtained from heretofore disparate data sources. So today, once those are connected and they're connected securely, that's an important foot stomp feature in the 21st century, is that everything is done with a layer of security, not as an afterthought, but as a forethought. It enables the decision makers to then render a decision that affects their mission very quickly and very rapidly. So overall, I don't know of an agency that it hasn't moved in this space. So you think of DOD, DOJ, DHS, the 26 cabinet level agencies are all having main efforts to understand, categorize, align, organize, and use data as a strategic asset to help foster their mission.
So Rob, as agencies sort of do what you've just described, improve their data management, how can that help power these next level types of technologies like AI and ML that we're hearing so much about?
Yeah, this is where, okay, now we're into the advanced model, right? We've moved past the beginners, like, let's go find it all. Now we need to really manage what we call the data lifecycle. You need to manage the ability to find it, ingest it, organize it, enrich it, put it in a data lake, in a data warehouse that you can then start to run algorithms on. AI tends to be predictive in nature. ML seems to be, okay, what is happening already? And so there's a lot of work that has to be done to take disparate data sources and put them in a posture of being able to have these AI and ML algorithms run on them. That is not a simple feat. However, the power associated with that and what the revelations come out the other side is rather dramatic. So today, the agencies are realizing there's tools like ours that are able to ingest it, sort of collect it, structure it, report it, create a database in whatever format you want, and then run the algorithms on it. And then you create the model, right? There's a model that gets created. So did I ask a question? Did I get an answer that was relevant or reasonably relevant to what I thought I was going to get out? Now your model is tested. Now you can start inquiring of the data different attributes. And so I think that the understanding of, hey, I have this data all over the place. Now I have to spend some time with, sort of the data engineering, if you will, to align it and organize it and structure it in such a way that I can render these decisions, is really helping the agencies move their missions forward, but is not without a level of, not difficulty, it's not the right say, but you really have to stay at this and understand you're moving from the simple to the sometimes difficult, sometimes reasonably complex efforts that do have high results on the back end. So the effort in is not small, but the result out can be very large and very helpful for the agencies.
So we've heard a lot in recent years about the move to a more hybrid IT model, a hybrid cloud model. And I'd be curious to ask you, because I know this is something that Cloudera focuses on, is why are more and more agencies coming around to the reality that that hybrid model works best for their IT enterprise?
Well, it's interesting. I've said this a couple of times. I think the agencies are in a hybrid model as a matter of fact, as a matter of course. When the migration to cloud started a while ago, some people ran at it, early adopters. As you always find, there's 10% of your team will just run at something because it's cool. And then there's some that aren't running anywhere. They're box hugging in the back room. There are data center guys, and there's guys in the middle that are slowly, as they require or they acquire the resources, they move themselves into the normal now high computing environment that is called cloud. But so you end up with, because not everybody has the money to sort of just move the entire enterprise to cloud, you end up with the disparity. What flavor of cloud, on-prem, off-prem, what vendor of cloud, and then, okay, I can't afford to move some of my legacy things to cloud right now, but over time, right? Some people have acquired the resources, then they do that. And cloud gives you sort of flexibility and an ability to do things that you can't do with your old compute store infrastructure. So as the agencies have moved from, let's say, 2010 to now we're 2021, almost 2022, they're in various states of maturation of the compute storage environment. So hybrid has become that's just where I am right now. Would you do that? I don't think you would do that if you had your druthers, but you have it as a matter of fact. The tools such as ours have caught up and being able to connect the dots between the various sources of data, where a few years ago that became really hard. So now, once we can connect on-prem, off-prem, different flavors of cloud, you can do things. You're almost back to normal, where everything was in a data center that you knew where it was. It's not that way, but we have the ability to command and control data much better than we did just a few years ago. So I think hybrid has become, it's okay. Right. It's okay where I am. I'm not like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Right. I only focus on making decisions with information that I can readily access. And some of the stuff that I can't readily access, I don't consider. Now we can consider that data, enrich it, and bring it into the fold to then give us even a better decision than we were making, and hopefully in the same amount of time. Because we all know the information technology infrastructure is really there to support mission speed decision making, right? And so now the data has to be connected to that process flow, and it is, right? So the agencies realize, hey, look, I can have things on-prem. It doesn't really matter where the data is. I can use it to conduct mission. So hybrid is a function of the next N years that I don't think anybody is going to be all cloud, all data center, all anything. I think they're spreading it around almost like your financial portfolio. You want low risk and you might have some high risk stuff. And over each year, CISOs and CIOs sit and decide, and CDOs, okay, what are we going to move where? Let's just make sure we have connectivity to it in order to keep moving our mission forward.
That's well put, Rob. So as we close out, everything that we've talked about with agencies looking to do more with their data, especially in the cloud, as you just mentioned, how can they ensure that they're protecting it from the plethora of emerging threats that have just kind of exploded over the last year or two?
Yeah, another good question, Billy. It's first thing is that you need to understand your data lifecycle, and from ingest to AI, think edge to AI, right? So all along that continuum, are you secure? And what does that mean, right? So you have your network cybersecurity, but now your network extends, let's just say, into the cloud somewhere. So do you have a strong identity solution enabled, right? Do you have two-factor authentication? Do you have encryption enabled? So that, and do you have tools that can monitor and maintain and manage that level of, the compliance associated with the rules that you've set in place? And we have an SDX solution that does all that. So that's really the important feature here, is that you are understanding your data is not inside the traditional edges of the network. It is now the modern edges of the network where your data lies. So your security apparatus has to be managed from hopefully a single pane of glass, like we can do, to the edge, wherever that edge may be, so that we can ensure you're looking at data you're allowed to see, I'm looking at data I'm allowed to see, and if I'm not allowed to see it, I don't get access to it. So those features are very, very important as you move into the future, to understand that we trust everything. I've said this, Scott, for 15 years. We tend to trust whatever shows up on our computer screen, right? We see it, it must be good. It's on my screen. And in reality, once you talk to a couple of cyber guys, you would learn that that's not necessarily the case. So given that, what does it take to make sure that everything is in fact secure as you stare at it? It takes this underlayment of security that is part of your data lifecycle as you now reach into these different and disparate locations.
Rob, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks so much for your time today.
You bet. Thanks, Billy.